This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You are plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
It's hot, it's spicy, it tastes great. Konnichiwa! It's Wrestling Wednesday here on the Podcast Wrestling Society. I am your loving leader, benevolent host, and Midwest monster. Pasta Mania is running wild, dude. I'm Troy Adams. And joining me here today, he's making a run-in like Scott Flash Norton on the very first Nitro. He's the Pepe to my Mongo. He is Greg. What up, Greg?
Why the hell am I Pepe? And what does he have to do with Mongo?
Well, the name is
confused.
Pepe. Wait, what?
Pepe was a damn stick horse. How dare you?
I thought Pepe was the name of his dog.
That was Pepper.
That you're thinking of Al Snow.
Pepe was a stick horse.
Okay, well then, what was his dog? 'Cause I googled that crap.
I don't know. When you say Pepe, I'm thinking of Chavo's stick horse.
I'm pretty
the
sure.
The lamest crap ever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more next week when we talk about Raw versus Nitro.
Preview.
Oh hell yeah! Stay tuned for more Pepe talk. But
good God.
Yeah, I think because Pepper. Because remember they had the quote pepper steak that Boss Man fed to Al Snow.
Oh yeah, who could forget that gem?
Oh well, yeah, we should cover that. Let's not. We,
yeah.
I feel really bad.
Russo on this show.
Yeah, and I love Big Boss Man, Ray Traylor, whatever you want to call him. Who we'll talk about. Oh God, we'll talk about him a little bit on this show today too. But it seems like every time we talk about him, it's always in the negative. It's always like him, that crap he did with Big Show.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Because growing up, man, he was like one of my favorites. You know, and he was like wearing the blue shirt and he was the bass cop.
I have a Mattel figure of him.
So do I.
Yeah, he was cool. And when he turned babyface, it was done really well. They got a.
Also tried to buy him, and he said no.
Yeah, well, he wanted.
He took the payoff.
Yeah, he wanted Bubba to reach in the snake bag and get the championship, and he said, no, do it yourself.
Yeah, well, there was like one of 8 snakes in there, so can't blame the guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and like I said, every time we talk about it, I also have a Jax figure of him in the SWAT outfit. So there's my first Jax mention.
I was getting worried there because you didn't say that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know if they made a Jax figure of him in the blue, but they did make. I have an old Jax figure of him in the SWAT outfit when he was enforcing McMahon's law. That was great. I will say his theme song was badass.
It was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a lot of crap, but man, he was damn good for his size.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's why.
And also, when he came back from WCW, he looked amazing.
Oh yeah, he dropped a lot of weight. I feel kind of
a lot. You mean all of it?
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, he was in the best shape of his life, I think, which is weird that he got into such great shape and then he died like not too long after.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it caught up to him. Look, now I'm going to get a price. Move on, please.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about something, I don't know, it depends on who you are, whether or not you're depressed about this or not. I figured start off the podcast here before we dive into our subject at hand, which, if you looked at the cover art is the
and
very
why
first
haven't
Nitro. Yeah. I actually spent a lot of time on that.
It looks really good, seriously. Like, it really does.
Well, thank you. I try.
Like, most of your stuff looks like crap, but no, I'm kidding.
Wow. Yeah, it's we're diving into the very first Nitro, so we'll be talking about that.
I watched this one live, so.
Oh, yeah, you weren't 2 this time?
No, I was 11.
Well, I was about to turn 5, so there you go. I had not got into wrestling yet, but I did a couple of years later, so this was pre-fandom for me. But yeah, so we'll talk about that, and since you watched it live, it'll be easier to get some of your thoughts from back then, as opposed to what your thoughts are today, if they're the same, different, all that good stuff. And I had never watched it start to finish. I'd always seen like clips of it in various DVDs and whatnot, but I'd never seen it start to finish. But I did the other day, so it's fresh in my mind. We'll definitely talk about that big historic event. This, though, I wanted to talk about Stomping Grounds, with the WWE's last pay-per-view. For all of you that aren't paying attention.
I mean, this past Sunday. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Spoiler, bro.
Bro. What did you think of it?
Okay, I know it's not a popular opinion, but I loved it. I thought it was damn good.
Well, do you think I should go with...
me and Ramon were like joking all day about, oh, we're going to watch this crap. And then I kind of like told him to like, watch, at the end of the night, we're going to be like, wow, this is really good. And sure enough, we did.
Well, I'm not going to, I have positives and negatives. It's not all like yay or boo, like some people online. It's either all of one or none, So which do you think I should go with first? Good stuff or bad stuff?
Oh, definitely the bad stuff.
Okay. Well, I will say this. Well, I'll ask you this. Did you watch the pre-show Cruiserweight title match? Because I did not.
Yes, it was so good.
Yeah, I heard, and I'm kind of going back on my.
I'm like, first of all, I'm like, where the hell is this on a weekly basis? Yeah,
I heard even the Wrestling Observer guys like this one. I know, go figure.
I think Alvarez was there, I believe, too. So
yeah, he was. He lives there in Tacoma.
He was real quick. He was complaining because there's no screens there, and they didn't have it on the Titantron.
Yeah, he was complaining about how the Tacoma Dome is, and he said a lot of people couldn't see. He said especially during that cage match, nobody could see if they weren't like in a good seat, which that really sucks.
I don't take everything as gospel, but this one makes some sense, and I kind of agree with him a little bit. That I guess Kevin Dunn doesn't want stuff on the screen because it distracts from the match, and I gotta admit, I agree with it because I've caught myself staring at the screen. I'm like, I'm here live. Why the hell am I watching the screen?
The only thing
I caught myself doing it when we were at WrestleMania in New Orleans, honestly.
Oh yeah, I did it all the time. I had the same thing. I was like, wait a minute, we have good seats. I can clearly see the ring.
Exactly. I mean, if you're like up in the nosebleeds and you have to, whatever, I get it. But I don't know. I see his point, but I also see Alvarez's point. I mean, certain arenas, the way they're made, you have to have a screen.
And during a cage match, especially.
But to be fair, I mean, yeah, the screen part is on WWE, but to be fair, that's not an arena for hockey or basketball, so they don't have the screens up above the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's not WWE's fault.
Right.
I mean, I know people are going to hear this and think I'm defending them. I'm not. It's just the way the arena is. There's no screens. So, but in that case, I guess they should have put it on the Tron. So. Yeah,
I hear that. But yeah, I did hear, and they were saying this kind of goes back to me, the last time where they put the Cruiserweight Championship match like mid-show. It's like the come down match, and boy was it a come down match because nobody gave a damn. Yeah. And it wasn't a bad match.
What was that? It was Nice and
Arya Daivari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but the thing is, it wasn't a terrible match. It just, everybody used it as the bathroom break. So, and it's kind of unfortunate.
Oh, hey, it's kind of some evolution. It used to be the women's match, and
yeah.
now I'm like really intrigued by the women's matches, and the cruiserweight match I can give a damn. So,
well, that's what Lars Sullivan's on the card for.
Well, now he's not. He's not gone for probably a year.
Gone forever,
for a year, bro.
We both did it. But yeah, I've heard really good stuff about this. I'm going to go back and watch it later.
Yeah, definitely, man. Tozawa's like, I've always thought this, but even more now, he's like criminally underrated, man.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was surprised he didn't win. I was shocked that Gulak won.
Oh, so you knew who won. Good. So I hope we get a good PowerPoint presentation about this.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. My God. Well, it said Gulak hit a torture rack into a neck breaker on Tozawa to get the pin to win the match, making him the new Cruiserweight champion. So he didn't pin the champ, so I guess I would set up for just a one-on-one between him and Nice.
I believe, probably, but I believe he's got a feud going with Kanellis, I think. I don't watch 205 Live. I just look at the results, honestly. Because, honestly, be honest, after SmackDown, I go to bed, and I wake up, I watch NXT the next day, but I completely forget about 205. That's how it works.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there praising it, and yet I don't watch it. Not to be a hypocrite, but I'm sorry, it's just too much for me.
Yeah, I've done that with New Japan, but then there are times I'll go back and I might not watch the event beginning to end, but I'll cherry pick matches to go back and watch. So I've done that.
I got to say real quick. Goes to show you what a draw the guy is. I only watched 205 when Enzo was on there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm one of the people that likes Enzo. I think it's your opinion, but I love Enzo.
He's entertaining. I think he's a goof, and he's
that's kind of what his appeal was, though. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, I will say this, and everybody and their mother's crapping on it, but I'm anxious to see what he and Kaz XL do in Ring of Honor. And I wish I was making that name up, but unfortunately I'm not. Speaking of which,
DDP endorsed it, so.
Oh well, not to body shame or whatever the hell, but he really does look like Kaz XL now. I don't know if you've noticed.
He'll be back in WWE one day. He'll be fine. It's okay.
Yeah, and then he'll have to go on Jenny Craig.
Go back.
Yeah, if they learn how to keep their mouths shut. But
Enzo for sure.
Yeah. But we'll see. Either way, getting onto this show, like I said, we'll go through the negatives first. You and I kind of, because you told me about it, and I was like, ooh, I get to mess around with a mark. So I got on Twitter. You and I kind of ganged up on some Lacey Evans fan, which I can't believe those words are leaving my mouth, but...
I've heard of you. I knew you existed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lacey Evans' fan.
Yeah. It's
Good grief.
Something.
I don't go on Twitter, by the way, to pick fights with people. They responded to me, by the way. I got to point that out. I didn't do it. So, all I did was say that she was not. I was like, we can all agree she needs work. I didn't say she sucked. Go back and look at it. I never bagged on her. I just said she needs work. She's definitely not bad. I will say that she's just not that great, and that this person took great offense to me on me for this,
and said that Becky was overrated, which I've heard a lot of hipsters say that before. And
that's exactly what I said. You're clearly a wrestling hipster. Is Becky quote too mainstream for you?
Yeah,
she got too big. I don't like her anymore. That's the sign of a hipster right there. Real quick, I work. I don't want to say it out loud, but what I work for, people are starting to hate on it because it's getting bigger and bigger. Oh, you started out as a small thing. That was huge. Okay, it was bound to happen. Isn't it the goal of anything to get bigger? If you got idiots sitting there saying, well, it's gotten too big, that's a stupid statement, dude. I'm sorry.
Hello? Sorry, you cut out for 30 seconds. I lost connection to you.
We can edit that all out.
All right.
Where were we at?
The Becky match. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard quite a few people just hating on Becky, and it's like, wait, it's those people that it's like, I like you until you're successful.
I was at the Royal Rumble. Okay, I was at Fastlane with you. I was at WrestleMania. Every one of those, she's got like the loudest pops of the night. And now all of a sudden we don't like her anymore. Oh, she got to where we want her to be. Now we hate her.
I've seen that so many times. I will say this. I am so glad that's not happening yet with Kofi. But, it was Roman.
Are people in New England giving up on the Patriots because, they got 6. I don't care anymore.
I'm not going to talk about people from New England and what they like, but yeah.
I'm just saying, though.
I get it.
They waited many years for them to be good, and all of a sudden they have all these rings. Oh, we don't like them anymore.
Yeah, I know.
That's the logic we're going with here.
Yep, definitely. I know. Well, I'm sure, this year when, I know it's still a little sore, but, it's like, I'm sure this year when you guys lost to Toronto, you're like, oh, God, thank God. I couldn't even think about bringing home another ring.
Yeah, I didn't want it.
Yeah, it's like, I'll let them have
look,
it.
I'll say this on one hand. I know what it's like to suffer all these years without winning, so good for Toronto. But, they were clearly good. Lacey Evans isn't that great yet. So
no,
she does not deserve this run.
And the thing is, that match wasn't
in
great.
my opinion, I got to say, I have to preface it with that.
Well,
I don't want people to think, well, I'm saying I said, therefore it's fact.
All this stuff is our
we know
opinion.
people like that.
We're not Uncle Dave, where it's like we said it, therefore it is. But yeah, that match wasn't great. I mean, it didn't suck. It just wasn't great. There was some blown spots, and Lacey looked like a dork at the end of the match. She looked like a geek. It was it. Nothing.
Nerd!
Yeah, she tapped out clean in the middle of the ring. No funny business, and this was 2 events in a row. Or well, I don't know. When was the last one?
I think she did. Yeah, it was
okay.
Money in the Bank, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 events in a row, she tapped out clean. But the thing is, and there's nothing wrong with getting somebody their heat back. But when you have them lose clean twice, and then they do something to get another match for like a 3rd time, oh my gosh, let it die. Find somebody else. And we'll get to that. But yeah, that was that. This is
funny, real quick, not to jump ahead, but 2 events in a row now, she's lost her match and then got involved in another match later.
I know. To get her heat back. And that's fine. I think she's a fantastic character, but she doesn't need to be facing Becky every month. Like, hot damn, dude.
Yeah, I mean, on that, I have to make it clear. I don't think she's a complete waste.
Yeah.
She's not who's somebody that sucked. That Eva Marie. That was a complete waste.
Yep. For sure. Other things, since we're skipping through, I'll save the biggest for the last. Then I'm not gonna completely crap on it, but I'll talk about it later. The Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre match. I went into it going, I don't care. I don't want to see these guys fight again. It's a million times. I don't care. But they had a really damn good match.
I think the thing that made me most mad is like, why wasn't this WrestleMania?
Well, we said that the thing is, and that's the other thing. Every time they wrestle, it gets better. So the match,
which is not a bad thing. I just wish it would have started at the big one, but I guess can't nitpick.
But Shane got involved a million times. There was a bunch of funny business. He even hit the coast to coast, and then, but besides that, the match was really good. And then Roman gets the win, clean win, because he didn't cheat at all, and Drew just lost. He looked like a freaking nerd because he had help. It was him and Shane, the boss, taking on Roman, and he lost again. And then Shane gets all pissed. And not that I'm saying Roman should have lost. I'm not. But why was Drew made to be in this situation to lose? He doesn't need to lose.
Yeah, you'd think with the best in the world in your corner, you'd have an advantage.
Yeah, well, the best in the world there got pissed off at the end and said, well, on Monday, and this is airing after Monday, so I don't know what happened on Raw, but let's just say, he said, oh, it's going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match. I'm like, oh my God, why? I don't want to see that. But, well, it's like...
That sounds like the blow-off to me, but...
You'd think, but we'll see. It's like, on Raw? Like, okay, whatever. As long as I don't have to see them fight on a pay-per-view again, whatever. But I probably will at Extreme Rules. Another negative, speaking of Extreme Rules, that commercial for Extreme Rules did not make me give a damn about it, and I thought, how terrible. Like, it was a super corny commercial, right?
Man, most have been, though.
Yeah, where they're like, fight for our right to be extreme and whatever, and it's like, wait, what the F are you like, okay. I mean, the event itself, I'm sure is going to be fine. Just the commercial is hella corny, and I was like, this is the best your marketing department could come up with. Like, all right, whatever. Either way, let's see.
Oh, it is Philly. It's like,
Oh God, Extreme Rules in Philly. That's where it belongs. And I'm not even being, I'm not even joking around about that. Another negative, and it didn't suck. It just, it was what it was. These two will never have a great match. And Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. It was okay. I've never seen an Alexa Bliss match where I went, oh man, that was great. That's why Kyle is like so in love with her, and oh, she should always be the champ. I'm like, just because you like looking at her doesn't mean that she should be, the champion all the time. She's not that good, and this match was not very good. And Bayley beat her fair and square, and that's it. And I was like, please don't let Alexa win this one, please, for the love of God. And when I
love when everyone says Roman shoved down her throat, and yet she's had the title a billion times. But that's fine, though.
And she gets a very long moment of bliss every freaking week. But whatever, it is what it is. But then, and they're setting it up. Alexa's going to turn on Nikki. Like, you're seeing that too?
Yep.
All right, so... That's plain as day.
Or she's going to get caught on camera saying something again.
God, I hope not. Please, just let it be a good old-fashioned heel turn. Like, not that. She's kind of a tweener now. I don't know. But yeah, so the more we get to see of Bayley, the better. I know, careful who I say that to, but whatever. Yumi and Ramon are happy.
Some of us more than others.
Yeah, right. Let's see. The steel cage match, Kofi versus Dolph. It was a match inside of a cage. Wasn't bad. It didn't blow me away. I thought it was a good match. I just thought that, like, the cage didn't really... The cage was set up for that last spot. I mean, they used it a couple times.
Well, they tried to escape a couple times.
Yeah. It was just a battle of who could crawl faster. And, these two can never have a bad match against each other. Just the crowd seemed like, according to Brian Alvarez, the problem was some people didn't care and other people just couldn't see. So the crowd was kind of quiet through this. But,
well, if Alvarez is saying it.
Well, I'm just going by, crowd reaction. I mean, dude, the amount of nerds I've seen, and I was talking to you about this. Nobody likes Dolph outside of you and me, apparently, and a couple of my friends. Everybody, WWE fans and the indie nerds, all of them, all of them hate him and think he's boring and he sucks and he shouldn't be there. And I'm like, good Lord, man. I don't know what he did to piss them all off, but whatever. But yeah, so that ending spot, apparently I'd never seen it before. according to other people, Austin Aries had done something like that somewhere. I don't know if it was TNA or whatever, but either way, it was cool. I have never seen it before, so it was awesome. Kofi damn near killed himself jumping. For those of you who didn't see it, Dolph was crawling out under the bottom rope. Kofi took off running and dove through the ropes and like face planted to win the match.
It was glorious.
Yeah, it's freaking cool. I liked it, and it was different. But yeah, and this one I'll cover this one because to you, some of it was a negative. But I thought the whole match was good. It didn't blow me away, but it was good. The SmackDown Tag Team Title match. It was Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery, and when Heavy Machinery came out, they got a decent response. But the problem was, and I didn't even think about it until the music hit. They were in Washington. Daniel Bryan's from Washington. They cheered him like a god.
Yep.
I thought, oh, man. And the thing was, and I know you have made your opinions known on how much you hate Heavy Machinery, but if nothing else, Otis is like he's entertaining to a certain extent.
I actually didn't hate this match, honestly.
I thought it was a good match, and the crowd actually cheered for Otis for half a minute.
I think once he got the caterpillar in there, they liked it.
Yeah, they started cheering for it. Dude, they could not win that crowd over, and I think he kind of gave up at one point. He's like, yeah, whatever, they're going to boo me. And then he actually got them to cheer for him a little bit. And then they after a while, they like almost like they remembered. It's like, wait a minute, no, Daniel Bryan, boo you. So, you know, but it was still good. I thought the match as a whole was pretty good. They were super, like I said, they were super into Bryan. He probably got the reaction of the night. But yeah, so there was that. The good stuff, before we move on to the main event, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeated The New Day clean as a whistle.
Dude, I thought they were going to finish him in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I thought, what the hell, man? That was... I couldn't believe it. Because I went into the event like I didn't watch it live, so I had everything spoiled for me beforehand because I was like, whatever. I like most pay-per-views, I avoid social media before I watch it. This one, I was just like, whatever. If it's spoiled, it's spoiled. So I knew who won beforehand, and I was still shocked. I'm just like, how? I'm not unhappy about it, but how? You know, it was cool. But yeah, Owens pinned Xavier Woods after hitting him with a stunner, and that was that. And that's another one, dude. I texted you. I said, dude, freaking Kevin Owens always gets a monstrous pop. Always. Because they were cheering for Sammy, and then as soon as Kevin Owens' music hit, just you hear, yeah! Throughout the whole arena. They love them some Kevin Owens, man.
Well, he's the man. Ask me,
yeah.
I'll tell you.
Another positive, Ricochet versus Samoa Joe for the U.S. title. I was 50-50 shocked that Ricochet won, but it wasn't one of them where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But it was like shocking enough where I'm like, oh wow, that was awesome. He hit the 630, got the win, another clean win, no funny business. What was funny business was he did that where he during his entrance where he like does a backflip and lands in the superhero position and he face planted and quickly jumped up. Poor Ricochet. But yeah, the match itself. What did you think of it?
That was really good. That was the match of the night.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it was really good. So go back and go watch that. But yeah, real quick before we hit our break, I do want to talk about the main event here real quick. It's the last thing we have to cover. Seth Rollins, Baron Corbin. This was not a main event. They had a lot of funny business.
I gotta say, I loved who they picked for referee.
For those of you
maybe in the minority on that, I loved it.
For those of you who don't know, it was Lacey Evans. So in the way they set it up, with her, she was trying to screw Rollins. She low-blowed him. Then Becky had to come out and beat her up. And referee John Cone made the count at the end for Rollins to win. God dang it, we're going to get a mixed tag match at Extreme Rules, aren't we?
It wouldn't be so bad.
Dude, I don't think, I don't completely hate Baron Corbin, but man, I don't think anybody wanted to see this main event, especially twice. After that Saudi match, ugh, I don't know. It is what it is, but that was the last negative. And the crowd made it known that they did not want to see that match because they chanted everything in the book during that match. They chanted for CM Punk. They chanted for AEW. They said this match sucks.
Because they're all marks, and yet they bought the tickets knowing the match was going to happen.
By the way, did you see...
That's the part that makes me laugh the most.
Yeah.
They didn't throw this on there last minute. This was one of the most hyped matches on the card. You all bought tickets to this, or however you got tickets, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But you're all there knowing. So shut up.
If it was me, like the ones at WrestleMania 34. If you guys really didn't like it, and, sure, you voice your displeasure, blah, 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 whatever. But if I really didn't want to see it, I would have been like, okay, show's over for me. And I would have packed up and went home early, beat the traffic.
Well, we did beat the traffic, remember?
Yeah. I don't know. It was what it was. We're going to see it again. Hooray. I don't know. But whatever. Hopefully Extreme Rules will shape up to be a good show. Looking forward to that. But yeah, let's take our first break. When we come back, we will discuss the subject at hand, which is the first Nitro. But right now we're going to let you know about other podcasts here on the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. We'll be right back with the first Nitro in history.
For all the latest NASCAR content, including driver interviews, race recaps, fantasy NASCAR, listener call-ins, and giveaways, tune in weekly to the Lap Traffic Podcast on iTunes or your favorite hosting site. On the web, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and on Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast.
Hi, this is Brad.
And this is Katie.
And we're the hosts of
Decomposition Podcast.
I think considering the material we're working with, that language was neither shocking nor inappropriate.
It's upsetting and delightful. Much like this song.
No, this is just rhyming nonsense.
Yeah. Here to hyper-analyze all your favorite terrible songs.
From Billy Joel to Taylor Swift.
And Pitbull to Kiss.
We break down what makes these songs so good.
While they're so bad.
This is a postmodern commentary on human existence.
Billy Shakespeare did write a whole bunch of sonnets. 154 to be exact.
I am not suggesting that this is a good or artistic song in any way.
It's not good, but it's
great.
You can find us at decompositionpodcast.simplecast.fm
or subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast app.
Check out our new episodes every Monday, and remember,
they're not guilty pleasures
if you don't feel guilty.
Did you know that a man once jumped into a bulletproof window so much that he busted it out of the frame and fell to his death? I do. Hey, I'm Nicholas Howe, and I made an improvised comedy storytelling podcast about this death and many others. Using a multiverse of me's as the catalyst, I explore the various ways people have died. I also have special guests on and freak them out about how dangerous the world is. Did you know lakes can explode? You do now. Listen to the How Will I Die podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at HWIDIEPOD.
And we are back, and it is time to talk the first ever WCW Monday Nitro. It took place September 4th, 1995 at the Mall of America in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I'm going to visit that mall in September.
I've been there once. Definitely check out Camp Snoopy while you're there. It's got a kiddie name, but it's a pretty cool park. I mean, then again, I was like 10 when I visited. But it's, cool that there's an amusement park in the middle of a freaking mall. So that's awesome. Yeah, go check it out there when you visit. What was the mall wasn't there a Raw that took place in a mall?
Not to my knowledge. I do know that Shotgun Saturday Night took place in Grand Central Station.
Was that the one where Triple H got like tombstoned on the escalator?
Yeah, I actually took a picture of that and sent it to all my friends when I was there in a couple months ago.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought that was a mall. My bad.
It's sort of a mall-ish. Yeah.
Ish, yeah. Well, this one, this is a companion piece. If you go back and listen to our 1995 review, so definitely go check that out. It goes well with this show.
AKA the greatest year in wrestling history.
Well, of course. But this slips in there perfectly. Between, I can't even remember which shows now. Was it September? What was September? Do you even remember? War Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But then they kind of set something up for that here before long in this show. But the commentary team was Eric Bischoff and Steve Mongo McMichael, and then they were shortly joined thereafter by Bobby the Brain Heenan. And as I mentioned earlier, Steve McMichael had his freaking dog with him.
Didn't he always dress it up, I think?
Yes. Right? Yeah, it was dressed like a little devil in this one. At one point, because it had a Mexican name, he dressed it up in a little sombrero with a bandana. That was something.
Money.
Yeah. But anyway, the opening match of this is very famous. First match in Nitro history was Flying Brian, or Brian Pillman, whatever you want to call him, versus Jushin Thunder Liger. This was a really good match, but this was kind of pre-cruiserweight, but it kind of showed, what they could do, or what the smaller guys could do. They tore the house down. About just shy of 7 minutes, Pillman rolls Liger up for the 1, 2, 3, and they celebrate with each other at the end. What did and you said you watched this live? Had you really seen much of those two before this?
Pillman, yes, a lot. Not so much Liger.
We saw Liger live in Brooklyn.
We did. His one and only WWE appearance.
Yep, he took on Tyler Breeze. For all of you with a network, go back and check out TakeOver Brooklyn 1. The very first TakeOver. But yeah,
one of my favorite nights ever I've ever been to.
Oh yeah, definitely. The guy next to me might not have agreed. He kind of just sat there and golf clapped twice. And yes, for all of you wondering, he did have the look, bro. Sorry if you're listening.
Oh my god.
But I wish I knew where Postomania was in the Mall of America, because you could go there. When you go there, you could tell me what's in its place now, because it is definitely not there anymore.
I can look at where it used to be.
Yeah, I wonder if you can find out, because for those of you who don't know, Hulk Hogan once had a restaurant called Postomania, according to Eric Bischoff and a couple of according to Eric Bischoff and a couple other people that ate there, it was subpar pasta. But you slap Hulk Hogan on it, and it's a success, brother. At least for a little bit. But either way, he cut a promo standing in Postomania with all of his little Hulksters around him, brother. And he kept plugging their Hulkaroos, which I guess is a dish that they had. And he didn't really talk about his upcoming match against Big Bubba. He mentioned him real quick, but then he went back to plugging Postomania. So this was just a commercial within inside the show, disguised as a promo.
Good job, brother.
Yeah, it was a little odd. I will say I dug that Hulkamania shirt he was wearing there, because it was the tie-dye one. Yep. I think it was his first. I want to say that was his first WCW one, or maybe second. Either way, I have one of them. It's like the all yellow one with red, yellow, or red lettering. But yeah, WCW U.S. Heavyweight Championship was on the line next. It was Sting defending against Ric Flair. So they were on the first Nitro. They were on the last Nitro. Kind of sad.
Apropos, though.
Yeah. I forgot to ask you, was this... Because on the network, it's just shy of an hour. So was Nitro originally an hour?
It was, yeah.
Okay. So it went from an hour...
It didn't stretch to 2 hours, I think, until like April or May of the next year, something like that.
Man, they really did what Raw did, but in like such a short amount of time. Because it was like 1 hour, now 2 hours, now 3 hours, now back to 2 hours.
Yeah. When I was a kid, when it was at 3 hours, I just knew it was bad.
Dude,
I was like 13 when it happened. Like, I just knew it.
Well, one of the Nitros we're going to be talking about here soon was a 3 hour Nitro, and I mean, it wasn't a terrible show. It just, man, like 3 hour shows are always a slog, no matter how good or bad they are. That's why I like every time when Raw is over, no matter how good or bad it is, I'm like, man, I feel like I've been sitting here forever.
Yep.
But yeah, they came out and they're about to face off when all of a sudden Lex Luger comes out. He jumped ship.
Get the camera off him.
Yeah. Eric Bischoff was yelling. He was like, "Get the camera off him! He's not supposed to be here." I'm like, if he's not supposed to be there, then you have really terrible security, Eric.
Right.
Because he didn't even just like walk through the crowd. He like walked down your entrance ramp, smacking hands, and the cops are just looking at him like, "Who's that guy with the mullet and the gigantic arms, dressed like a pirate?" I say he was.
Yeah,
like
we got to touch on that real quick. Amazing mullets.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, when he was standing there and they were close up on it, I was like, man, that is a perfectly shaped mullet.
That epic shirt went right with it, man.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. He was kind of dressed like a pirate. All he needed was like a bow tie and like a jacket. He had like the big puffy arms.
Oh my God,
like,
stop now.
And he was wearing like really tight black jeans. So yeah, like the whole outfit, he looked like a pirate. Oh my gosh! But yeah,
it's fun to note that It's fun to know he wrestled the night before at a WWE house show, I believe.
Yeah. WWE didn't even know. He just like showed up, and they saw it. And according to Bruce Pritchard, he got a call.
He's not with us anymore. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, according to Bruce Pritchard, he got a call from Pat Patterson. He was like, F him. He's their problem now. Because it's like a tale of two Lexes. Because if you listen to everybody who dealt with him in the WWF, they said he was lazy, he didn't want to be there, he was argumentative. And then Eric Bischoff says in WCW, he was like ready to go, he wanted to work, he was into it, he didn't cause any problems.
They said he's good friends with Sting, and who was like the guy, so.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get the title for a while, did he?
No, he got it almost 2 years later, and he only held it for like 4 days.
Yeah, that was sad. He won it a couple times, though, didn't he? Or was it just the once?
I think it was just the one. I mean, he won it before.
Dang.
Twice before.
Well, just think that's the only time he's only held the WCW title. He never got the WWF title.
Yep.
Couldn't make it there, brother. But, yeah, so... this U.S. heavyweight title match.
When I saw it, by the way, that was my first thought. Was WWE guys are coming over. Like everyone's first thing was like Hall and Nash. That was my first thing because I literally just saw him on Raw like maybe that week before or whatever.
Right.
So that was my first thought. Keep in mind, I'm like 11 when this is happening too. So.
Yeah.
And there's no internet or nothing either. It's like nobody knows this is happening. You know. It's almost impossible to get with that nowadays. Like next to impossible.
For sure.
Like when Brock showed up at Money in the Bank, that was a shock. So it can happen, but it's very unlikely.
Well, the couple times like they had to sneak Jericho in undercover, and when they snuck in the Hardy Boys at Mania 33.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, yeah, but I mean, they had to go to great lengths to do that crap. And then I guarantee, I didn't hear it, but I've heard enough Meltzer to know that I guarantee he was like, oh, well, I mean, everybody knew they were going to be there. You know, I had reported on it, 2 weeks ago. And, of course, because he can't look like he doesn't know something. He knows everything.
Damn right.
And I know we've been crapping on Uncle Dave a lot, but that's what I do.
It's not undeserving.
Dude, I finally told, speaking of that, I finally told Ramon the thing that he said about Will Ospreay's better than HBK was in his prime and more consistent. Ramon, like, I could almost hear his head exploding through Facebook. It's insane. But yeah, this U.S. title match, it was a pretty good match. I mean, it was Sting and Flair, but god dang, I felt bad for Flair, dude, because he took I don't know how many military presses.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like, yeah, like he kept looking at him too. He kept like falling to the side to avoid his back for obvious reasons.
Yeah, and he kept dropping, and the go-to was he threw him against the ropes, picked him up, and just press slammed his ass. And I'm like, oh, God, if I was Flair, I'd be like, ease up, big dude. But yeah, halfway through the match, Arn Anderson came out in a tracksuit, looking like he's about to whack somebody. My mother, God rest her soul. But he just kind of came out and stood there. The end of the match was like Flair tried to he locked him in a figure 4, and then Sting tried to turn it. And Flair just held onto the ropes and wouldn't let go, so he got disqualified. And which was an odd ending for this match. But Arn Anderson gets in. They were feuding at this time, Rick and Arn. And he gets in, and they just kind of square up.
I think they were getting ready to face off at Fall Brawl, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because they were not too happy with one another. But Arn takes off his windbreaker, and he. I'm trying to remember the events here, but I guess nothing really happened. I don't believe, did it? I don't think it came to blows.
No.
But it was just kind of setting up. But when you
were saving it for the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, then we go to ringside, and there were a couple people that popped up in this show, and you'd think, man, this is the first Nitro. They're really going to set up for some big-time players and whatever. The first one that made me kind of raise an eyebrow was this one, especially when where, it didn't go. Scott Flash Norton comes out of the crowd, starts yelling at Eric Bischoff and everybody at ringside, saying getting in Mongo's face, and they're squaring up to one another, which is funny because, they're squaring up to one another while Mongo's holding a freaking tiny dog.
Yeah, that's not more badass than that.
Yeah, it was just freaking weird. And he said, well, he wants a match, and he against anybody. And then all of a sudden, Randy Savage comes out to challenge him. It was like, we'll go right here, big man. And they just have a stare down. And Savage is trying to egg him on. Bischoff calls for security. That was effing weird, dude. And we watched all the pay-per-views. I don't think it went anywhere.
No, I don't think it did. I think they had a match on Nitro. That was it. I think he just turned heel on Ice Train. They were Fire and Ice. A real name.
Good Lord.
I think he turned on him or something, and he went yeah.
Well, everybody remembers Ice Train.
He literally wouldn't. Am I Smooth, right?
I don't know.
That's what Russo repackaged him as a limo driver who was the tough guy, and they called him M.I. Smooth, and he came out to that song Smooth Operator or a ripoff of it.
My gosh.
Again, you can't make this stuff up. But that's where Flash came from, or after. He wouldn't even be relevant until the NWO started, honestly. So there's that.
Was he ever relevant in WCW?
I don't know. I think they did some stuff with him in the NWO. Nothing big, but he was always there with them, though.
Yeah, I know. The thing was, he was always there.
You know what? If you listen to Bischoff, he said anybody who puts on the NWO shirt is part of the NWO A team. when Conrad tried to list off the B team and he listed Vincent, he goes, "What are you talking about? When he put on a black and white shirt, he's part of the A team." Conrad damn near wanted to hang up on him.
Yep. I was like, dude, give it up. Just give it up, Eric. That's good Lord. But yeah, so
I gotta say, Flash Norman, by the way, very good. I mean, in my opinion, he was not bad.
Yeah, and he's over as all hell in Japan, like to this day.
I heard he's like a god over there.
Yeah, dude, he showed up in a New Japan event last year, or no, earlier this year. I think he was at Wrestle Kingdom or something like that. They freaking cheered the hell out of him. I'm like,
him and Bob Sapp, man, I don't get it.
Oh my gosh, I forgot how big he was over there until like before the main event. They'll show graphics of like every person that's ever held the New Japan title, and he popped up, and I went, "Oh God!" Like, you know, you're going through all these like great, like, you know, Keiji Muto and you know, and people like that, and then you get to Bob Sapp, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, that's the fact that he held the IWGP title is just something. But either way, after this, we get a video package of somebody who would do absolute screw all in WCW. And it was a good video package for
oh.
It was for Sabu. And it was just a bunch of WCW house show clips because he was never on TV.
He was on the next Nitro, I believe.
Yeah. Was that like his one? He
wrestles a few matches, but okay. I don't know what happens. But eventually, he's not on there anymore. And the official reason given on TV is TNT banned him because he's too extreme.
Yeah, that's it. Well, he had a match.
Again, you can't make this up.
He had a match of pure suckage at. I mean, I guess it didn't completely suck. It just wasn't great. Against Mr. JL, which we cover in the archives. I can't remember what pay-per-view that was at. It might have been
that match will happen again, but later, differently.
Yeah, and better. For those of you that don't know, Mr. JL...
Don't spoil it!
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because nobody knows. Mr. JL was Jerry Lynn. So, yeah. And he wrestled in a mask. He kind of looked like a luchador. They couldn't have come up with a better name than Mr. JL.
That's money to me, man.
Well, hell yeah.
Imagine that. Oh, man, I got to get the new Mr. JL shirt.
We've said that about a few people.
Just when you have to preface it with that, it's probably a bad idea.
Well, hey, think about the new guys in NXT, man. I want to get the new Dexter Loomis shirt. That's Sam Shaw, for all of you who don't know. I'm assuming their thought process was he has a gimmick based off of Dexter, so he used that. That was kind of obvious. And then Loomis was the name of, like, Dr. Loomis from the Halloween movies. And it's terrible, but, I mean, whatever. Either way. What's up next after the Sabu video package that went absolutely nowhere?
Well, I think we can end the show now. I mean, we hit it all.
Oh, well, here was the next one. Well, we get a special update, by the way. Double main event Saturday night. It's going to be Johnny B. Bad versus Dick Slater, which, hot dog, I bet that one tore the house down.
It's dirty Dick Slater.
Yeah. Oh, I get to say
Innuendo.
Dick again. I do
Innuendo.
I wish I had a Jax figure of him. But then it's Sting and Randy Savage versus the Blue Bloods. My gosh, could that be any more one-sided? Whatever. Their tag team division was kind of depleted, I think. But this
the Blue Bloods also included an Alabama boy.
Yeah, well, he was Sir Robert Earl of Eaton.
Yeah.
They just said, oh, he's got British blood in him. I'm like, that pale white boy from Alabama has British blood? No way. But this is the next thing that made me raise an eyebrow. They had a whole vignette promo, whatever, for Michael Wall Street, better known better known as Mike Rotunda / IRS
/ Bray Wyatt's dad.
Yeah, Mr. Wyatt.
Can we say that?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, he would later go on to be VK Wall Street for, VK. I wonder where they got that from. And they let him in the NWO.
Yeah, but then they probably took him out.
Yeah, well, he was part of the A-Team. There you go.
And then he would wear a shirt that said anti-WCW.
Yeah. He takes a few shots at the WWE. He randomly says that the IRS will be watching him really close. And I'm like, why? That just seems like jackhammered in there. Like, we get it. Ha, you were IRS. Now you're not. Why don't you go back to being Mike Rotunda?
Well, he did. He went back to the varsity club later when Russo came on.
Oh, yeah. Because, by then, that gimmick still had some steam. This rundown I was reading sums it up perfectly. Apparently, he took a stab. He said something about the WWF's new generation, but he called it the few generation, whatever. But they said the new generation comment was fine, but you just bringing up the IRS thing is just silly. It's like, you don't say, as if this whole thing isn't silly.
Oh, man.
Dumb. But now it's time and I was like looking at the time on this, I'm like, we still have like 35 minutes to go. And it's the main event. And it's WCW champion Hulk Hogan with a very patriotic looking Jimmy Hart taking on Big Bubba Rogers.
America.
Hell yeah. Dude, the crowd lost their crap for Hulk Hogan.
No way.
Yeah, he was like, for all you Hogan haters, I will say this, he was like mega over still here in 95. So, it was him versus...
Well, not to take away, but, they were in Minnesota or in the NWA, but,
Right, yeah. So, people, knew him, liked him, whatever. The end of the match was Bubba missing a corner splash, and Hogan comes in, gets hit with a Bubba slam, but he kicks out, hulks up, big boot, leg drop, end of the match. Bubba had a lot of cartoonish selling in this for Hogan. It wasn't what I would call a good match, but it was a match. And it sent the crowd home happy, so that's all that matters.
Sent the crowd shopping happy.
Well, yeah, that too. But yeah, this is probably the height of Big Bubba's career in WCW for a while. But then we couldn't leave well enough alone. Now I knew why there was like 35 minutes left. Because the Dungeon of freaking Doom comes out to beat
Hell yes! The hottest angle in all of 95.
Well, hell yeah. They had the new generation in WWF quaking in their boots, man. But yeah, the Dungeon of Doom attacks. And, at first I was like, man, geeks. Because, they come in one by one and Hogan just beats the snot out of them. And, every single one, I was like, well, this one's going to get him. No, this one's going to... Nope. They all just get their ass kicked. And then... Hogan's still doing fine, but then Lex Luger comes out to make the save. I'm like, you're not really needed here, Lex, but okay. But then they, back into each other and turn around and look like, oh, we're going to fight. But then they don't know what to do. And Sting hits the ring to hold back Luger. Macho Man hits the ring to hold back Hogan. And they kind of, they go to a commercial break and so they can get Mean Gene in there to talk to him. And Hogan is they come back and Hogan's putting Luger over, but then also burying him. Do you remember this promo?
Doesn't work for him, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Well, he's like putting him over. It's like, I've been where you've been. I know what you've been through. I've been there too.
I've beaten the same guys you've beaten. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, he's like putting him over. And then at the same time, and then he turns around and he's like, well, you ain't getting a shot at this title, brother. F you. And then Luger, kind of puts Hogan over and kind of puts down the WWF and is like, well, I want a shot at that belt, whether it's, next week or next month or next year or 5 years from now. And I texted you, I'm like, that company's going to be praying for death in 5 years. So it's not going to be then.
Oh, man.
But then they handshake on, he was like, I want that title next week. Hogan agrees. They shake hands. And then Hogan, like the heel he is, shoves Luger like out of nowhere. I'm like, you're a turd. Like, and he did that during the match. Like, you and I have talked about his heelish tendencies, even though he's a huge babyface. He was like raking Bubba's eyes and crap through this match. I'm like, what a nasty heel. And he's getting cheered.
He's a heel.
The heel, mother effer. Came out of a box and he was over. Came out of a big American box. But yeah, so that was that. Nitro. Do you have any lasting memories you didn't cover from the show, watching it live?
No, I specifically remember it ending. For some reason, they aired it live at 5 here, so it was never on a delay.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember oh, cool, a whole day of wrestling. It was that at 5, ended at 6. Raw started at 8.
I thought Raw was on that night, or
maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the whole.
Well, I mean, every night after that, though, I was like,
oh
cool.
Yeah.
My original thought too was like, okay, WWE's gonna be there now too because Luger's there. That was my original thought.
Well, what did you think when IRS popped up?
I don't remember what I thought about that.
Like, who gives a damn?
It was probably that.
Oh, man. You were probably like, that's not Michael Wall Street. Oh, man. I remember, because I remember as a kid, the first time, now remember everybody, I started watching wrestling at end of 97, beginning of 98. So, but I had played the Super Nintendo video games, WWF Raw and WWF Royal Rumble. Do you remember those?
I do.
And I played those, and I knew the guys. And then my dad was like, because I was kind of upset watching WWF programming. I'm like, they're not there. These are new guys. And I like the new guys, but I miss the old ones. My dad's like, oh, well, the guys you like are on this channel. And he flipped over, and I'm like, oh, that's Mr. Perfect. That's Diesel, But then I was like, they started calling him, they were saying, oh, Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall and whatever. I'm like, what the? What is this? I'm like, your name isn't Kurt Hennig.
When Hall and Nash debuted, they didn't use their names on purpose.
Yeah. And
to this day, I still remember thinking that, they're not saying their names.
Yeah. It was cool. I mean, this would go on to be a much better show later on. I mean, looking back on it now, what did you think of the first Nitro?
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it had 3 noteworthy matches. I mean, they put, the first match was really good between two really good workers, which is, I think, a good way to start the kind of set the tone. Then they put a title on the line. Sure, it had a screwy finish, but it was setting up for pay-per-view, And then, I mean, the main event, you got to see Hulk Hogan beat up a big dude. So, whatever. And
looking back, we've seen that match 100 times.
Yeah. Yep. And we got the debut of Lex Luger, but those were the 4 things that I think they did right. The other filler stuff, I was like, on our first, primetime live show.
I went over like a fart in church.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. But yeah, so that was that. That was the first Nitro. Any other closing remarks about it that we haven't covered?
Yeah, it's very overrated.
It was historic. That was about all I can say for it. But
I haven't even heard like a lot of hype from people on the first Raw because they know it sucked.
Yeah, well, the first Raw. I mean, Raw wasn't good for a while.
Well, I mean, it did have Undertaker and Damien Demento. Now, that was a 5-star classic, but that's it though.
Oh well, that was historic. I mean, wasn't it Bruce Pritchard that was like, well, on the last Raw we should have Undertaker, Damien, or no, or that was you, wasn't it? You were like on the if Raw ever got canceled, on the very last one they should have Undertaker versus Damien Demento.
Hell yeah!
Let's not. But either way, was Raw still 1 hour at this point too?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 2 hours.
And looking back, it was in like bingo halls too.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah.
I'm back on some of the old Raws, and like you can like see like offices in the background of the match and stuff. It looked like they were in like a high school gym. Like you can see the announcer booth up in the rafters and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you gotta go back and watch old Raws, just check out the just the walls behind the audience. Like well, everybody's on the floor.
Well, I
think about
like
that. Every seat is on the floor.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, and then when they're in the Manhattan Center, you know, it's like that doesn't hold hardly anybody.
That's true. Yeah.
But I like how that's always Bruce Pritchard's argument about ECW. Oh, they were in bingo halls. Like, yeah, well, so was Raw for years.
Dude, go back and watch some of the old In Your Houses. They were in bingo halls too.
Do I have to? Because I already watched all of the ones in 1995, and
well, that was the heart of In Your House, 95.
I'm still traumatized from that. But yeah, for all of you, definitely go check out the 1995 review in the archives. But yeah, so that was the first Nitro. Next week, I do want to say we have a big special episode for our 50th episode ever. It is Raw versus Nitro. It's January 4th, 1999. For all of you who don't know the significance, on
Look
Raw...
Because if you don't know, you should be slapped. No offense.
Right. Yeah. Well, on Raw that night, it was Mick Foley, or Mankind, rather, winning the WWF Championship and putting them butts in seats. And on Nitro, they were in the Georgia Dome, screwing everybody over with the finger poke of doom.
I have so many stories about this.
I definitely want to hear them.
I watched it live, and yeah, it was something.
Were you throwing furniture?
Yeah, but not for the reasons you would think.
Well, like I said, that was a 3-hour Nitro. I've recently watched it. It wasn't bad top to bottom. It was just a slog because it's a long show.
Right there. It wasn't bad top to bottom. And yet it lost and it never won again. What does that tell you? We'll get into that though.
Yeah, and think about this. They drew 40,000 people to the Georgia Dome on the Nitro 2 weeks after Starrcade. It wasn't even like a special occasion. No, January 4th, 2 weeks after Starrcade, boom, 40,000 people in the Georgia Dome.
Well, it was January. They figured the Falcons aren't going to be playing because, let's face it, it's the Falcons. So why not?
Yeah, well, it's just like it's
I just
crazy.
Threw off a lot of Atlanta listeners. Sorry.
I don't think we have any listeners in Georgia, but yeah.
Wait.
What?
I think they went to the Super Bowl that year.
Did they?
I'm really off. That could be the year they played the Broncos, I think. I don't know. It was around that era, though.
I'm not even sure.
Whatever. I'm just laughing at the Falcons still.
Oh, man. But
for one listener in particular. Well, he hasn't listened, but one person in particular.
Right. Well, either way, we're going to be covering...
it was a crazy night. There's going to be a lot to talk about with that one.
Yeah, there was a lot, and the funny thing was they're in Georgia in January, which, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't like warm, but it was not. It's not going to be cold, like, freezing, frigid, snow and cold in Georgia in January. All right, whereas in the WWF on Raw, they actually go outside, and we'll talk about it, and there's snow everywhere.
I think that was in New York, wasn't it? Or
I can't remember. It was in the north. I know that. But yeah, it was crazy. And Raw was pre-taped and still won the ratings that night. So
I wonder why.
Well, they put the butts in the seats, man, or one particular person did. But yeah, it was a strategical error on the part of Eric Bischoff and friends. But we'll dive into all of that and talk about why and our reactions. I specifically remember watching that Raw. I was not a Nitro, I wasn't a WCW kid. I had neighbors who were. I was not. So I was watching this Raw. I did not see what happened on Nitro. And so I can give my thoughts from watching Raw. You can do for both. And I actually had to go back and watch this Nitro to see what the hell, because I've only seen bits and pieces. Lots to get into, lots to discuss, and that's for our big 50th episode next week. We've made it.
It's going to be huge.
Gigantic, huge. And this is just the beginning. So much more to come. Giggity. But yeah, next... there's going to be more. We're going to do some more Monday Night Wars, this week versus that week, if it's significant stuff. If you guys like it, we'll bring more of them. If you don't like it, we'll try something else. And we're not going to do them boom, boom, one right after the other. We'll kind of gap them out, unlike what we did with 95, where it was just one right after the other. That one, it was fun at times, but that was a bit of a slog as well. So, and last thing before we sign off is go check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/podcast wrestling society. It is fully updated with all the episodes. So if you have not, if you don't have a podcast app or whatever, or if you don't want to use your podcast app anymore, listen to us on YouTube. Or if you're on your computer, just pull up YouTube. It's easy. Boom, right there. All the audio in full form for you. So go check it out. Thank you for joining me this week, Greg.
Of course.
And we will see you all next week for episode 50. Later.
Later.